Transfer window in England. Alexis Sanchez destined to sign for Manchester United and end his 3.5-year career at Arsenal. However, there could be a stumbling block, with the deal hinging on one man willing to swap sides. Well, it's going to rumble on, isn't it? Well, Matt Critchley joins us from Old Trafford. Carrie Brown joins us from London. Carrie, if the deal doesn't go through for Mkhitaryan, does that mean the deal for Sanchez is off?
Well, despite the speculation that Chelsea have come into this as a late runner, I believe that Alexis Sanchez has gone as far as agreeing personal terms with Manchester United to join Old Trafford. That would be on the terms of a straight swap with Mkhitaryan. Now, that would obviously be more appealing to Arsenal than just paying the money and looking for a direct replacement. They tried to get Mkhitaryan in the season in which he went to Old Trafford. He's definitely the sort of player that Arsene Wenger likes. The pace can come from midfield. Hasn't got the strength of quality and finishing that we saw from Tuchel under his tutelage. But maybe Arsene Wenger, maybe Arsenal can rediscover that form, that cut and dry finishing he had in Germany in his last season before he went to Old Trafford. You wonder, though, if Alexis Sanchez still so determined to go, then if Arsenal could push a deal through if they got Aubameyang in. Now, if Aubameyang comes in, he solves the departure of both Walcott, of both Alexis Sanchez, can play as a lone striker, can also play out wide if he needs to in a front three. So he has that versatility to replace those. So then it would rest again in a bit of a holding pattern on Aubameyang coming into the club. It is a fascinating January transfer window, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is, Carol. It's about Aubameyang in just a moment, but in regards to Alexis Sanchez, it's not just about City or United. We're hearing now that Chelsea have also got involved as well. Is that Antonio Conte upsetting the apple cart, so to speak, or is there genuine feeling in the Chelsea camp? Do they want Sanchez?
Well, Antonio Conte, in a presser just a few moments ago, said that he doesn't know anything about the transfer of Chelsea bidding for Alexis Sanchez. He now then reined back on that, saying he doesn't get involved in transfers, and then he was cut off from talking much more about it by their head of communications, saying that he'd answered the situation. So Conte wanting to distance himself from the deal. That could be for two reasons. One, that he doesn't want to get in a war of words of it, and he does indeed covet that player, so if he doesn't go, it's not an effect on his standing. Or two, he sees it as far too late in proceedings. We know how unhappy he has been with Chelsea trying to go for big players. What would it mean if they did get Alexis Sanchez? Why would they want him? Well, if you look at his goal-scoring record at the moment in league goals, you've got Morata, who scored 10 league goals. You've got Sanchez, who scored 8. He scored 3 less. That's 7. I can't do my maths today. He's got 1 more goal and 1 more assist than Eden Hazard, and he's one of the top 5 strikers in the Premier League. So definitely that quality in front of goal. Morata's sort of having a bit of bad luck, as Conte says it, but definitely their problem at the moment, and they need to close the gap, is that clinical finishing. He would bring that in. The big problems, though, and the reason you think it wouldn't happen for Chelsea, is he would come in on a salary higher than any other member of that Chelsea squad, a salary that Chelsea haven't wanted to pay before. They then you would think, have to give Eden Hazard that salary. It would then be a crippling wage bill. Also, his age. He's 29 years old. You imagine that contract would take him into his mid-30s. Chelsea have a policy of not giving their players any more than a 1-year contract over the age of 30 to avoid players coming to the end of an era and having a high wage figure, and for the reason that we believe that his agent is also demanding a very high figure, 5 to 10 million as a signing on fee. That put them off signing Lukaku, who would have been a fantastic fit at Stamford Bridge. So you can see they need that clinical finisher. It would help them close the gap on the leaders at the top of the table, but so much against him coming to the club too.
OK, let's head over to Matt. Thankfully, we've got him back in Old Trafford. Matt, I wonder if now that City say that they don't want Sanchez, whether Sanchez joining United would be a better fit for him. I guess he'd get more playing time, right?
Yeah, I think Alexis Sanchez would look at the situation, and ultimately the financial package is, as we know, better, the offer from Manchester United, so that will benefit him. But yeah, I think he'd be more guaranteed of a starting place in the United team. As we discussed yesterday, the other options with the likes of Juan Mata, Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford in there, Henrik Mkhitaryan may well be leaving the club, but I think Sanchez would be a guaranteed starter for Manchester United. I don't think that would be the case at Manchester City with the form of Raheem Sterling, the form of Leroy Sané, Sane so far this season. So Sanchez would look at that. I think the appeal of working with Jose Mourinho would clearly be there as well. And from what I understand, the player is very keen indeed to leave Arsenal, to seek a new challenge and to try and really challenge for trophies once again. So I think for Alexis Sanchez's point of view, I think the appeal of Manchester United will be there. Clearly he wanted to work with Pep Guardiola as well, and I think it was a close call between those two, but ultimately the financial package on offer may have been greater here at Manchester United, and that's what may have swung it. But as Carrie's been explaining, the deal now seems to rest on Henrik Mkhitaryan and whether he will indeed leave Manchester United and go to Arsenal. It would be a straight swap for those two players, with Mkhitaryan going one way, Sanchez going the other. That, well, at the moment is up in the air. We will wait to hear what Henrik Mkhitaryan and his representatives have to say on that deal.
Yeah, I was going to say, does Jose Mourinho have any options if Mkhitaryan doesn't go? Matt?
I think ultimately they will look at trying to resurrect the deal for a straight cash offer for Alexis Sanchez. Jose Mourinho has spoken in his press conferences in the past week and said that he would like to bring in a player of Sanchez's quality if he became available. He said in January, in March, in the summer, he would love to bring Sanchez to the club. I think the Mkhitaryan angle has only arrived in the past couple of days, and now Arsenal are insisting that he becomes a part of the deal, and Mino Raiola, the player's representative, says it has to be Mkhitaryan one way and Sanchez the other. But if that falls by, it may be that the situation gets resurrected in a few days' time and United revert back to a straight cash offer of what we understand to be around £35 million for Alexis Sanchez. But that's perhaps for maybe even next week. The deal quite clearly at the moment is for a straight swap, Mkhitaryan going one way, Sanchez going the other. But we, as I say, we wait for Henrik Mkhitaryan to make his mind up as to whether he wants to join Arsenal.
OK, Matt, but if it wasn't a straight swap and it was a cash offer, is that good business by Manchester United? What's the feeling on the ground there? 20 million, 35 million, there's various reports about that. Particularly with the fact that Sanchez can go for free in the summer, as well as Arsenal selling to a rival club as well.
Well, you look at it in two ways, Aaron. Obviously, if he goes in the summer, it's a free transfer, so Manchester United could effectively save themselves that £30–35 million and wait 6 months and may have a chance of getting the player then. The other way of looking at it is you're potentially gaining a player worth £60 or £70 million if his contract wasn't in this particular situation, and you're gaining him for half price because of his contract situation. So I think United very much look at it that they're gaining a player that's worth 60, 70, maybe £80 million, a player in his prime, a player with proven Premiership quality, and they're gaining him now for a fee of 30 to maybe 35 million. So they're happy with that, it seems. Manchester City look at it in a slightly different way. They weren't prepared to offer that sum and the wages on offer. I think the total package of the deal could be worth up to 60 or 65 million. But I think United and Jose Mourinho are acutely aware that they have to keep spending to try and keep up with Manchester City, with the amount of money that they're prepared to spend to get to the top of the European football tree. And I think United are acutely aware that they have to continue to invest in the team and invest in big name players, and Alexis Sanchez is one of those.
OK, Matt, just hold it there for a second. So Sanchez is probably on his way to United. What about Aubameyang? We touched on him in a moment. Carrie, what kind of player can we expect of him at Arsenal if he joins?
Well, he would certainly produce, that is the hope, goals. At the moment, you've got Lacazette, who hasn't scored in his last 8 Premier League games. Aubameyang has scored 13 goals in his last 15, scored 31 goals in 31 appearances last season. We're looking at, we think, about a figure of 35 million, and potentially Giroud, and that might surprise some Arsenal players, because Giroud has been one of the players to provide some impact from the bench. But Aubameyang really is a quality player. He has, as I said a little earlier, this potential that he can go out as a lone striker, but can also go out wide and play in a front three, which will be of assurance to Arsene Wenger if we also see Alexis Sanchez and Theo Walcott, as we imagine, will be leaving to go to Everton. So certainly the kind of player, he's got the pace, he's got the versatility. It's very much an Arsene Wenger player. The one problem will be his temperament. He's not been training sessions, he's fallen out with the coach. But there is a belief, because the backroom staff know this player very well, that come to Arsenal given another opportunity, and on the big stage of the Premier League it could be a great opportunity to shine. And then if you look at the potential, although I question if Mkhitaryan will go to Arsenal, he'd be paid more than any other player in that Arsenal team. That's his salary currently at Manchester United, so he'd have to compromise, we believe, on his salary. He's not in any rush to go to Arsenal. He doesn't want he's insisting his terms are agreed to before he moves. But if Arsene Wenger could get Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang, then you would think he actually had come out well of this transfer window. But I think Mkhitaryan would be more of a sticking point than Aubameyang, who the club are quite confident they will be able to bring to the capital in this window.
And of course, that will probably end their interest of Malcolm as well. Carrie, you touched on Theo Walcott there. Matt, we understand he's having his medical today at Everton, something in the region of £20 million to transfer, we understand it.
Yeah, Theo Walcott on Merseyside today. I'm sure he's enjoying the weather here in the north of the UK right now, but the deal not too close at the moment. I think there's a few loose ends to tie up. Everton aren't stating that it's likely to be announced today. That's what we expected earlier in the day when we learned that Theo Walcott was on his way up to the north of the UK to have his medical. But I understand there's one or two personal details and one or two details to do with the transfer and the staggering of the payments to be sorted out between the two clubs. So I don't think we'll hear a confirmation of the Walcott deal to Everton probably in the next few hours. It'll either be last thing tonight or even tomorrow. But I think it's likely that if Walcott passes that medical, that deal will be completed and he'll become an Everton player.
OK, Matt, thank you very much indeed, and to Carrie Brown for us in London as well.